Yep, the 2JZ is blown up again. I have not been doing a very good job at updating you guys and filming. The last couple months have just been crazy hectic. If you've been following along, you'd know that at a previous event, broke pretty much the whole drivetrain, drive shaft, diff, and engine. I tore the engine all apart and took the VVTi pistons that I had from my spare block, threw them in it, slapped it all back together, and went to another drift event. It ran really good, ran it all day, and then very last lap of the day, it was a really good lap, pulled into the pits, bunch of white smoke coming out of the exhaust, and it didn't want to idle very well at all. So I knew something was wrong. Did a quick compression test. I did cylinders 1, 2, and 3. 1 was fine. 2 and 3 were both really low. So I figured it was a head gasket. When I did the quick rebuild, I ended up reusing my old head gasket because it was basically my only choice to get it back together in time for the event that I was going to. And I was hoping with the multi-layer steel design, I could just use the copper spray that on the gasket, and it would be fine, but clearly not. So got the head taken back apart. I verified there's no piston damage or anything like that. It should just be the head gasket. So we've got a head gasket on the way, ready to slap it on once it comes. But before we do that, I have another project, and that's going to be a new turbo. So the last couple events, my oil catch can has been overflowing, and I think it's because my turbo seals were bad and basically blowing boost pressure into the crankcase. And the turbo is still leaking oil out of the housing. It's not too terrible, not as bad as it was before, but it's still a problem. The rebuild didn't do a whole lot, so we're gonna put a new turbo on it, and I figured I might as well go with a smaller turbo. The turbo I had on it, the BorgWarner S366, is rated for about 700 horsepower, which I'm only running the car right around 500, so I don't need that big of a turbo. I just got it in case I wanted to go higher power in the future. But it makes it a lot harder to drive. It's not very responsive, so definitely not ideal for what I'm doing right now. And then the turbo that I got is just a cheap eBay turbo. It's rated for 500 horsepower, so it's still gonna make the same power. Might need a little more boost to get it, but it's gonna be a lot more responsive in the low range, because this car doesn't really make any boost until 4,000 RPM with the S366. So hopefully this turbo will be a lot easier to drive. Now the reason I went with a cheap Chinese turbo is because if you guys didn't know, I'm building another car, a E36 Coupe, which is getting an LS, and that's going to be my main competition car. There's a lot of reasons for why I want to do that, which I'll explain in another video. But that hopefully will be done in about a year or so. So for now, I just need this car to run and last me for roughly a year, which I've heard really good things about the eBay turbos. I don't think that's going to be an issue. So yeah, 300 bucks for a turbo. We're going to slap it on. It is going to take a little bit of modification. It uses a 3-inch V-band outlet instead of the Marmon flange that the BorgWarners use. And then obviously I need my 90-degree elbow. I'll cut it off of that one and weld it onto this one. So I'll have to redo the downpipe. That's going to be the hardest part of the job, but other than that, it should be pretty easy. So I'm going to slap the head back on temporarily just so that I have my exhaust manifold and I can mock up the turbo and get everything fit and modified. wastegate is modified. The 90-degree elbow is welded onto the cold side of the turbo. So now we can tear everything back apart, take the head off, do the head gasket, and then we can reassemble everything for the final time, hopefully. All right, it's the moment of truth. I think I got everything hooked back up and everything's ready to go. So we're gonna try to start it, see if it'll start, and see if the head gasket fixed the issue or not. Well, it started, but it didn't really want to start, and it sounds a little bit weird while it's cranking. We'll see if we can keep it running for a little bit, get some heat in it, and then see what it looks like. Well, I got the car to start and idle pretty decent, but you could tell from the cranking that it's definitely still low on compression. So I tried a couple things, some Marvel Mystery Oil and some Seafoam, just as a last resort to see if maybe it was just crud on the valves not seating properly. That didn't seem to help, so I did another compression test. We still have only about 30 in cylinder 2, and then 3, 4, and 5 are also low. 1 and 6 are okay. So seems like it's definitely more than the head gasket, which means we got to tear it all apart again. So that's unfortunate, but it is what it is. I'm going to figure out exactly what I want to do, if I want to get a new engine or just rebuild this one. Well, this escalated quickly. After finding that there was low compression in multiple cylinders, I tried a couple things. I let it idle for quite a while. I put some Marvel Mystery Oil in it just to see if maybe it was a valve that was just sticking or not sealing properly. Nothing made a difference. So at that point, I knew there was other damage in the engine besides the head gasket, and I was going to have to do something to get it fixed within about a 3-week timeline so that the car would be ready for a drift event that I'm hosting. It's the first event I've ever hosted. If you guys haven't seen the previous video covering that, we have a local track giving us an opportunity to host drift events. So I definitely want to make sure my car is running for that, but it's coming up quick. So I thought about all the different options I had, basically to do a complete engine rebuild in 3 weeks. At the end of the day, I decided my best bet would be to buy some rods and pistons, put them in my spare block, and use that to swap everything over and get it put back in the car. I was a little bit worried that this head was damaged, so I went ahead and bought a used head off a buddy of mine. And then I ordered rods and pistons. I found some used forged rods and pistons on eBay for $450. They're JE pistons and BC rods, so new they would have been well over $2,000. So it was a really good deal. I couldn't pass it up. I asked the seller if they were stock bore diameter, and he said yes. Got the rods and pistons in the mail, checked them out, looked at the part number, Googled it. Turns out they're not stock bore. They were a 1/2 mil oversized. So then I'm like, well, shit, now I have to machine the block. So I sent the block off to a machine shop. Luckily, I found a machine shop that could get it done in 2 weeks, which would give me time to build it and put it back together. But to do all that, then I had to do main bearings, new rod bearings, new piston rings, because I didn't want to use the used ones. So yeah, it turned into a complete engine rebuild, machine work, everything. And we got it all together yesterday. This is the new engine, forged rods and pistons, lower compression, so it should be super safe. I can turn the boost up a ton. Realistically, this engine should be good for 1,000 horsepower now. Obviously my turbo isn't going to support that, the new smaller turbo that I just put on it, nor will my injectors or the standalone ECU, but maybe that's something we'll upgrade in the future. For now, I just need it to run and be reliable. So yeah, we got the new engine built, put together. We're going to put it in the car today and get it running. But let me show you guys the damage from the old engine real quick. I took it out and got it all torn down. Here's the block. Nothing too special going on there. And here are the pistons. And I know what you're thinking. Oh, broken piston ring. No, these are not the rings. We completely destroyed the pistons. Broke the ring lands. So yeah, that would definitely cause a lack of compression. Now my first thought was, is just because they were the VVTi pistons and they're weaker, they're known for breaking ring lands. But with just the one event that I did on them and the way it broke, I was a little skeptical. I started researching what causes ringland failure like that. There's a lot of factors, but one of the main ones is fueling. I was a little concerned since I did the dual fuel pump setup and have them teed together that they might be kind of fighting each other and not giving me proper fuel all the time. So I switched that, hopefully take care of that issue. But I looked at my old pistons, the ones that have been in the car for like 3 years, and I never really had any problems with until I had the throttle blade screw get sucked into the intake. So these are the 2JZ GE non-VVTi pistons. They're supposed to be just as strong as GTE pistons. They can handle a lot of power. Like I said, I had these in the car for a long time and never had any real issue with them. But upon inspection, you can see that maybe there are cracks in the ring lands right there and there. They're not nearly as bad as what the VVTi pistons were. It didn't completely break off the ring land. It just cracked it in a few places, but that led me to believe there was definitely a fueling issue. I know the car's been running really rich most of the time, but like I said, I'm hoping it's just because of the fuel pump setup I had. It might have had some lean spots in it. But we'll see. We're definitely going to watch the fuel really closely with the new engine once we get it running and try to really dial in the fuel pressure and get our AFRs pretty decent. But next year, we'll definitely be doing a surge tank to make sure we never have any fuel starvation. But yeah, we've got forged rods and pistons in this engine now, so it should be pretty much indestructible. So we're going to get this thing thrown in there. You guys have seen me pull this engine in and out several times now. I don't think you want to see it again, so we're just going to skip ahead to the first start and see how it goes. Motherfucker. Alright, round 2 for real. Still angry. It's better. So we got everything put together yesterday and filled the car with fluids, got everything ready for the first start, started it, and as you guys could see, it ran like crap. So the first thing we suspected was timing, and so we checked that and discovered that the timing was off, so we fixed that, started it again, it still ran like crap. So after doing a bunch of troubleshooting, we finally realized that one of the crank trigger wheel teeth got broken off right here. I don't know if you guys can really see that, but there should be a tooth right there. So it was causing cylinders 1 and 6 to not fire. It was only running on 4 cylinders. Luckily, I was able to get a new one from Amazon, next day shipping for 25 bucks. So I'm gonna throw that on, put everything back together, put the front end of the car back on, and we'll try starting her again.
Once over real quick, all the plugs are in, all the plug wires are connected. You plugged in that stuff. Okay. Fans are plugged in.
Alright, so we're gonna go break her in. Basically, we're just gonna do some light driving, about 40-50% throttle, accelerate, and then let off the gas and let it engine brake and decelerate. That should get the rings all seated. We'll do that for about 20-30 minutes, and then we should be good. Exhaust being fucked up. third gear at low speed. Didn't like that. Yeah, it's dead. It did that bullshit it used to do. What did we determine was causing that?
I don't remember. Boost leak? Something popped off?
No, it was the neutral wire. I'm pretty sure. It could have, something could have popped off.
When you have the neutral wire issue, it would it'd get mad every time you gave it any good throttle.
No, it was only if I was doing a pull. Once I hit like 5,000 RPM.
Yeah, it's getting mad.
As you guys could tell, the engine is running really good. We had one small problem where the car was shutting off. Basically, it goes into a limp mode, and then if you push the clutch in and come to a stop, it dies. You have to turn the key off and turn it back on and restart it. But it fires right back up and continues to drive just fine. So I'm not sure 100% what was causing that. We've had that issue in the future, but we thought we had that resolved. We were able to fix it this time. I just turned down the boost and it hasn't happened since. So could be something to do with the smaller turbo building boost faster, and the ECU sees that and just throws it into a limp mode for some reason. But it's working great now, running at about 16 pounds of boost, so we should be good there. So now that it's a running, driving car again, tomorrow I'm going to take it into work and throw it on the frame machine. We're going to pull the left quarter and see if we can get it close and at least get the trunk to latch. That's my goal, so I don't have to have the trunk ratchet strapped. Just try to make it a little better. It's not going to be perfect, but do the best we can. And then in the off season, we will cut the whole back half of the car off and do a tube rear. So yeah, let's go get it on the frame machine.
Why are you so weird on camera, dude?
I'm just myself.
Hopefully that jet is strong enough.
Give her the beans.
It's going.
Oh, it's moving. Keep
Let's move in the front end.
Run it over top of the other two.
Oh yeah.
Hold it. Hold it.
Sliding a lot, but coming out a lot too. Oh yeah.
I need someone to hold this wiring. So.
Well, here it is. Definitely not perfect, but at least it's halfway straight. We got the trunk to latch. The left taillight won't fit, but that's not a priority. At least the trunk latches. I was able to get the bumper on, and it's somewhat straight, so it looks a lot better than it did. It started tearing on the frame machine, as we kind of figured it would, just because of how far in it was. There's no way to pull the metal back out without tearing it. We probably could have got it a lot better had we spent another 4 or 5 hours on it, but we were just trying to rush through it and get it so the trunk would latch. So we managed that, so I'd call it a success. So that's gonna do it for this one. It's been a long couple days. Basically, Saturday I built the engine from a bare block, put the forged rods and pistons in it, put it all together. Then Sunday we put it in the car and got it running, sort of. It would have been running perfect had we not had a broken tooth on the crank timing sensor gear. But I was able to get one of those Monday, so we threw that on, got it running good, and then took it for a test drive, broke it in, and then today's Tuesday, we got it on the frame machine and got it fixed. So we've been putting in some overtime to get this thing ready, because this weekend is the first ever drift event that I'm hosting at Jamaica Raceway. If you guys didn't see the previous video, make sure to check that out. It's gonna be a good time. I'm really excited, and I hope that it's a success and that we're able to do it again in the future and make it better. So yeah, I can't wait to see how it goes, but until then, we'll see you guys later.